This is part 3 of our key period 1. The only PowerPoint for this key period, being that it's key period 1 and it's the shortest key period, so 5% of the test will be on there. So we left off with Native Americans. Now we're going to talk about relationships between Europeans and Amerindians. And remember, this PowerPoint is designed to be general, brief, big idea based. Remember, you're going to get most of your information reading the text, reading review books, doing a little bit extra work, looking at extra sites on different information. You want to make sure, especially early on, guys, you have a good idea on the big concepts and how those smaller key vocabulary and how those things kind of fit in. So I'll talk about this a lot in class, where we got to make sure we see the forest through all the trees. Okay, we need to know the trees and the in-depth vocabulary, but we also need to understand the big ideas. So one big idea is, in general, understand the relationships between Europeans and Amerindians. You have the French. We'll talk about them a lot in key periods 2 and 3 as well. But in general, early on, you have the establishment, of New France. And with the French, you could argue that the French had the most positive relationship with Native Americans in general. The French did not establish large settlements. The French did not colonize to the extent that the Spanish and the English did, for a variety of reasons. They were effective in their relations with Native Americans also for a variety of reasons. And with that, what we talk about with the French is they practiced better diplomacy. They became great gift givers. A part of an element to this is the fur trade that they were there for. So the French learned to be expert trappers and traders, and they learned to really focus on good relationships with the Amerindians or the Native Americans. You can say it either way. The coureurs de bois were the French traders and trappers. The voyageurs, another French word, basically for voyager, right? So these are the guys that were established there. Just a couple visuals here. A beaver hat. The fur trade continued through the mid-19th century, guys. So basically what you got there, that's the wrong color to use. Basically what you got there is the 1800s, into the 1800s. This is when America is already the United States, so the French were still trading there. We do need to make sure we have a geographic understanding of the changes in the claims in the New World. So this is going to be, we're talking in this particular time frame, we're talking the 1600s, when the French established their dominion, I guess you could say. Not a lot of people living in this region, whereas the English colonies will grow quickly and begin to push westward, which will obviously lead to some issues later on. We'll get to those in key periods 2 and 3. So looking at this map, and of course this map is 1650, so you see New England and New France, and again, eventually we should know that the English are going to push their way and occupy this area of the continent. And that's our study. We'll get to all that stuff as we go through the course. Iroquois trappers and French fur traders on a rendezvous here. Traders giving alcohol to Native Americans. A side note, something worth studying, but the effects of alcohol and the effects of guns on Native Americans, in addition to the effects of disease, have often been argued by sociologists having a very negative effect on Native American culture, definitely changing the culture there. Some of the elements that were traded: kettles, guns, glass beads, and of course alcohol. So these are parts of the details that are worthy of noting. Definitely also worthy of noting were the Jesuit missionaries. Oops, I'll have to go back. Jesuit missionaries, they are interesting because, again, the Jesuits there, what you have is French Catholics, okay? And basically the French Catholics, the Jesuits, their biggest contribution was as geographers, okay? But what I mean by geographers is that by spreading their missionary work, this is hard for me to do with the mouse, sorry guys, geographers, while they were spreading their missionary work, they mapped out the land in this region. And so one of the things besides the missionary work was their role as geographers and kind of the map creators of a large portion of what is now southern Canada and northern portions of the United States, the old Northwest, I guess you could call it. Another side note here, you see Native Americans torturing a Jesuit missionary. One thing that the Native Americans noted is that the Jesuits in particular stood up to torture without a lot of whining and begging and things like that. So they actually respected them. However, Native Americans did, in some instances, torture the missionaries. That's kind of a sad element to the tale. What about Spain and their relationship with some of the natives in the area? Well, first off, we do need to know, and like I said, the Aprend is great for some of the videos they have. They have a really good video and explanation of the encomienda system. You can find that in other areas as well. But one of the areas, guys, and this is interesting, the Pueblo Indians and their revolt against the Spanish happened in and around Santa Fe, which is modern-day New Mexico. But these are the areas where the Spanish established this encomienda system. And what it was the Spanish, basically a Spanish landlord would make their way over from Europe to the New World, and they would be granted or commended an encomienda, okay, a lot of land. And in that land would be populated with Native Americans. And so basically for teaching them Christianity and essentially saving their souls, they would be commended or given large plots of land. And so this is how a lot of Spanish were encouraged to come over to the New World, because they became these rich landlords through this encomienda system. So that's an element to this as well. And I do recommend the video clips to further kind of our understanding on that. You also have the mission system, which, if you remember back to, what is it, 4th grade, guys, when you do California history and your mission projects and all that stuff, which, by the way, I don't think 4th graders are allowed to do those anymore. There's been some educational changes. But anyways, mission system for us in California history is very important. Spanish established it. There's missions throughout Southern California and up the coast. And essentially, these are similar to the encomienda system. However, in the mission system is a little more military based and a little more central authority when the Spanish were trying to establish their dominion in the West. Okay, so some of the other ones besides the California missions that existed, Tucson, Texas, and they were led by priests, Franciscan friars. Okay, you have Father Junipero Serra, and that's, we got J. Serra, has a very famous high school with a kind of prestigious sports teams. I know their baseball team's pretty good. I think their football team's okay. But certainly, this name, Junipero Serra, is very famous in California and as part of the mission system. I would encourage you to watch the videos, because it's not just that everybody in Spain supported the mission system, supported the mistreatment of Native Americans. There was some debates about the treatment and how the Spanish authority should interact with Native Americans. One of them is called the Valladolid debate, and again on Aprend, they have a good video on that as well. And those are some key details that can kind of fill in the blanks, guys, of what we're studying here and of the information that we get. I highly recommend that site right off the bat. A few things here. The Spanish came, when the conquistadores came, guys, they were basically males, right? And so when you're a male and you conquer an area and you're basically going to settle, if you didn't bring any Spanish females, you're going to settle with an indigenous, a Native American female. So basically, for Mexicans, and me being, I'm mostly Mexican, believe it or not, but for Mexicans, guys, we celebrate Dia de la Raza, and that's basically the foundation, the formation of a race. When the Spanish came over and basically had babies with Native American women, that basically created mestizo culture, okay, most commonly associated with Mexico and Mexicans, but certainly any Spanish that came over and intermingled and intermarried with the native population, this is what we refer to as mestizo culture. And another different element, but super important, guys, I call it the first American Revolution, because where it happened was in New Mexico. And basically what you have there is, oops, that's weird, is what you have. The reason why I call it that is because this was a successful revolt, not by Americans in any way, shape, or form, but America, because it happened in what would become the United States of America. So in a way you could phrase it that way, and it makes it, kind of gives it gravity. Background of the revolt, basically, the Native Americans resentful of Spanish rule. What they did was they basically they took over. They overtook, I want to say, 10, 20, 40 years time they took over the area in New Mexico, but the Spanish eventually got it back. And so what the Spanish churches were turned into Native American kivas, their places of worship, but certainly a very important element, a key ID. I think it is one of the 8 IDs that you have to know in this section. Very significant early on, because it's proof that that resistance to the Spanish wasn't just passive. That the native population was able to to resist, and this was one of the bigger successful revolts, and it lasted for a period of time. And it also resulted in, once the Spanish got control back, it also resulted in a small extent of religious toleration. Very important, because again, when we study history, guys, we always want to focus on causation. More commonly, you've learned it in the past as cause and effect, right? So what is the relationship? What is a cause? Well, cause can be numerous things. An event like the Pueblo Rebellion is simply an event and is also a result of Spanish conquest, right? But it's also the cause of a more specific situation where it led to a little bit of religious toleration by the Spanish toward Native Americans. So English relations, we'll get more into England in key period 2, guys. This is kind of an introductory element to this, and so you're going to notice I'm going to go relatively quickly through this, and we will cover this through primary sources and other elements as well. But the English, guys, their relations with Amerindians, we can kind of summarize and generalize it as removal or extinction. There are elements which can talk about Squanto and the first Thanksgiving. We can talk about the Pilgrims. We definitely, celebrate Thanksgiving and don't focus on the negative stuff about it. As far as the eventual, supplantation of the Wampanoags and other Native American tribes throughout the Atlantic area, and actually throughout what would become the United States. But certainly it's an element here that the Pilgrims came first, settled in Plymouth Bay. And the first Thanksgiving is a celebration of that. Obviously, you see 1621 past our date. The Puritans in Massachusetts Bay Colony, and again, a lot of this more detail in key period 2, but just some big idea introductions here. The failure of the praying towns, and what you have with regard to this is the evolution of the Puritans in Massachusetts Bay, and as a result of a not a failed treaty, but a failure of just, I guess you could say, the relationship here. And the Pequot War is significant because the Pequot War is a cause of what would happen next, which the effect is something we're going to study called the New England Confederation. And the New England Confederation is one of the first elements that we study when we talk about American unity. Okay, the New England Confederation, very important. Because of this violent war between Native Americans and English citizens, the area in New England, the colonies banded together and formed a confederation to protect themselves and to support one another, but in particular to protect themselves from Native American attacks. So the Pequot War was a impetus, a starter of that, a cause and effect, right? And there it is right there, the New England Confederation as a result of this, the bloodshed in the Pequot War. Okay, so King Philip's War. We'll talk about symbolic wars. This is a symbolic war, a significant war because it led to the end of Native American resistance in New England. We'll also look at the end of Native American resistance in other places throughout the study of this course, guys. But King Philip's War is the end of that resistance in the New England region. In the Chesapeake, we'll talk about the Powhatan Wars in key period 2. But this big idea is we're kind of overviewing the English since we covered the Spanish and we talked about the French as well. So that's why it's kind of key period 1 because it's introductory. Okay, so with the Quakers, you have their pacifist views, and like I said, a lot of this more detail in key period 2, guys, but it's just introductory. The Quakers and their relationship with Native Americans, they actually treated the Native Americans more fairly than most of the other settlements, and we'll get into some of that. We'll talk about the Walking Treaty and William Penn in key period 2. That's kind of a neat story. Remind me to make sure to tell you that. In the Chesapeake, you got John Smith in Jamestown, and I'm running out of time with this one, guys, so I promised you 15 minutes, but it says key period 2, so I will get to the story of Pocahontas and the Anglo-Powhatan Wars and all that stuff as we go through. In the meantime, guys, don't forget chapter 1, read it, please. Make sure you do use sticky notes and study. Our first test our first quiz. I want you guys to all do well and start the year off well. So, all right, guys, hope you enjoyed that one, and I made it just under the wire. See you tomorrow.